Okay. Things look pretty well, you know? Are sorry, are at the very least manageable. We have the Ace of Cups here, which is like a beautiful card. It's one of my favorite cards, you know, just because it's full of like these overwhelming feels of just happiness, contentment, just having more than enough, you know, like this is the overflow, you know, living in the overflow of abundance, just being very emotionally secure, having all of the happiness. And really what this card is a new opportunity to have more happiness, you know, right? Like the Ace of Cups is always a nice card, you know. It's a card full of just an opportunity to live in your best life, your best happiness, enjoying everything that is around you. While we have this Ace of Cups here, we also have the Nine of Pentacles, right? Which is one of those cards where you're just focused on yourself. You're working for you, you're doing what you need to do, you do a lot of self-growth, self-work. Like this is the independence card of like, I'm getting my business done, you know. And so you see a lot of growth and a lot of things happening in this card, you know. But it's one of those cards where it's like, I'm doing what I got to do for me, you know. I'm being prosperous, I'm making sure that I'm setting myself up for success. So like these two cards together, I just absolutely love that for you. This speaks of so many opportunities for you and like just so much more amazingness that is yet to come, you know. And while we have all of this, there are going to be some rough times because we have the Knight of Swords here, which is a chaos card, which is like one of those cards where things are going to get a little bit hectic, a little bit chaotic, but you can always handle this hecticness, you can always handle this chaos. It's nothing that's going to set you back majorly. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, things are getting a little much, let me do what I got to do to make sure I can get through this, you know. So you got it, you can handle it, and there are amazing things happening for you, you know. Just make sure you're doing what you do, you're on the right track, and you continue focusing on your goals, and you'll be successful, you know. So I love this for you. It's looking like a whole bunch of great opportunities, like still pushing forward. Absolutely still pushing forward, you know, because I don't see anything that's gonna really be too much for you, you know. It's just a matter of like knowing that you can handle it and knowing that no matter what, you will succeed, honestly. So that's what I'm seeing. You got it. Gingerbread, I got you. You want to know if Haley has some feelings for you? Let's find out, you know. Let me do this reading, and then I will do what I can to answer your question. I'm gonna be so honest with you. None of these are like feeling like, none of these are like I have feelings for you cards. So my initial response is to say no, but I also think it's just a bit more complicated than that. Like, I think it's one of those things where it's like they want to have feelings for you, but it's just not there. It's not something that like is happening, you know. But I think part of them is like, that's something that I want. Like, I think that would be nice if I did, but do they genuinely have feelings for you? No. And the main reason why I say that is because we have the Page of Pentacles in the reverse, and the Page of Pentacles, not only is it naive in its endeavors, you know, it tries, it really does. It tries to build something of stability. It tries to build something that's going to last. It tries to bring in the comfort, the safety, like the communication. It just ends up falling apart, you know, like it just ends up falling through. Which is why I'm like, I think that somewhere in them they're like, I want to, it's just not something that they're capable of, you know. And also we have this is 8, right? Or is this 7? Sorry, sometimes I'm bad with Roman numerals. I think this is 7 of Wands. Regardless, this is an obstacle card, right? This is a card that is like, sometimes the obstacles, the struggles, they just feel too big. It feels like you can't get through them. It feels like you can't overcome them. And that's how they feel. It feels like this is just something that's too much. It's something that's not going to work out. It's something that I cannot possibly overcome, you know. And on top of that, it's like we also have the World in the reverse, which is one of those cards where it's like, I want the peace, I want the wholeness, like I want us to be together, and like have this happy, nice state, but it just cannot be, you know. It feels like this card holds itself back. It's like, I can't do that, you know. Like, it, number one, it doesn't believe in its abilities to be able to overcome those obstacles and do what it needs to do in order to make that happen. So it just doesn't. It's like, actually, I'm just gonna quit before I even try, because it feels too hard. It feels like too much. Does that make sense? So they want to, but currently right now they don't. These are scary accurate. I've actually been told that before. Fun fact. I'll get off and come back when you finish the first reading. Got you. I love one about my current relationship. It's new, seeing if it's a good long-term connection. Gotcha. Intriguing. I can see the newness, you know. I see the new vibes here, you know. And the reason why I say that is because we have the Fool, you know. And the Fool is that new adventures, new opportunities. Like, this card is in the beginning of its journey, you know. And it's bound to make some sort of mistakes, you know? That's really what it is. It's just bound to make some sort of mistakes at some point in time. But this card is very hopeful, you know? Like, it's full of life and hope. And on top of that, we also have the Ace of Cups, which is one of those cards that's just overwhelming with emotions. Like, it has all of the happiness, all of the contentment. Like, it just has everything that it possibly needs right now in this moment, you know? It's definitely living out of the overflow. What is the most interesting about this relationship, though, is there are definitely going to be some hardships and struggles, you know? And that's what's so interesting here. Like, we have the Nine of Pentacles here in the reverse, which usually this card, it feels very isolated and alone. You know, like it just ends up feeling very isolated and alone. And the main reason why it does this is because it ends up getting stuck in this mode where it's like, okay, let me put in the work, let me put in the effort, let me grow, let me develop. Like, it does this thing where it's focused on work mode so much that it ends up not being able to connect with the other relationships that it has and really be able to nurture them, which is why it feels isolated. So it's more of that feeling of, okay, let me bring myself outside of what I was doing and like reconnect with people. That's what this card is. And I'm thinking this is something that is going to end up happening soon, you know, where you just feel disconnected. Also, we have the Seven of Wands here, you know, and this also feels like not right now, but somewhere in the near future, where it just feels like everything, like there are all these obstacles in your way, you know, like there are all these difficulties, there are all these obstacles, and at some point in time they just feel too much, they feel too heavy, they feel too hard to get over, and you're like, I don't think that this is something that I can get through. And what's funny is that's never the case. Like, this card retains its meaning of you are bigger than your obstacles, you are bigger than your struggles, and you absolutely can get through this. I want you to like look at this card. This is technically a giant. Like, this is a giant. He's supposed to be fighting these other things, but like, those are mountains next to him. Like how big he is compared to those mountains. Huge, right? And sometimes you forget just how amazing you are when this card is in the reverse. You forget just how resilient you are. And we also have the Magician here in the reverse, which is like, you don't believe in your own power, you don't believe in your own ability. Like, this card lacks self-confidence, self-worth, and so it's a purpose of regaining that self-confidence and self-worth, so that way you can get through the obstacles that you're going to endure throughout this relationship, you know? Because like I said, those obstacles are bound to happen. Those obstacles are bound to come through. It's just a matter of believing in your ability to create change and believing you know, having that self-confidence, because you can do it. It's just a matter of, do you believe that you can do it, you know? So that's definitely something that is going to happen. You're definitely struggling with the lack of worthiness of a healthy relationship. Yeah, and that can be tough, you know? Sometimes we don't think we're worthy of a healthy relationship, but it's important to note that everyone is born worthy of love. Everyone is born worthy of abundance and amazing things, and no one could take that away from you. Even when you feel your least worthiest, you are still worthy, okay, of everything, of all of the amazing things in life. And so it's just a matter of seeing that and understanding that and then truly believing it, okay? No one can take away your worth, all right? Sometimes we just forget that and we aren't able to see it genuinely. But do you have any more questions that you would like to ask? Oh, right, I got distracted. Would you say that this is a good connection even with the obstacles? I want to say yes, but with the cards that I'm having here, these cards specifically, they don't say that. So let me pull a couple more cards. How intriguing. What I want to say is it has the ability to be a really good connection. And the main reason why I say it has the ability to be a good connection is because we have the Six of Wands here, which is a card where it's like, it's in the process, it's in the works, it's on the journey, you know? Like, this is one of those cards where it's on the way to success, you know? Like, it's on the way to becoming something amazing and beautiful that will bring you a lot of happiness and fulfillment. Like, that's what this card is. But right now, in this moment, this is an unbalanced relationship. And I know this because we have the Six of Pentacles in the reverse, where one person is giving, and the other person is taking. And so we need to bring some more balance back into this relationship. We need to even it back up, because right now this relationship is just a little bit draining, you know, where someone's taking the time and energy without really giving anything in return, which is why we have the Seven of Swords here, which is like this card is more of a protection type card. It's like, okay, protect your energy, protect your time, and it's because it's unbalanced. So if we brought more balance into this relationship, then absolutely 100% it would be a great connection. But because it's unbalanced, because it's uneven, and one person is giving more than the other, that's what it is. But it definitely has the potential to do that. And I don't even think it's like consciously making it uneven. Like, I don't think it's malicious. I just think it's something that's happening accidentally, you know, which is why there's that potential there. what's interesting is none of these cards are like, none of these cards are really super emotion based cards that are like, oh, I really like this person, I'm really into this person, I just want you to know that. But at the same time, there's this energy of like, okay, I want to build something, I want something that's going to last, that I can really nurture and grow and develop, those types of things. But right now in this moment, how's your relationship look right now in this moment? That's what I need to know, you know? You just come in here saying numbers? No, honestly. I don't do just like one card pull, yes, no questions. That's something I don't do. But these are paid readings. It's $10 for a mini reading, $15 for a regular, and $20 for an in-depth. He's your best friend. Are you asking like if they have any romantic feelings towards you? Or did they come out and say that they had some romantic feelings towards you? You know? Yes, they did. Because, no, he hasn't yet. Because what this is it's just a lot. Like, we have the King of Pentacles in the reverse, which is a card where it's like, there is no stability, there's no structure, like, there is no foundation to build a relationship right now in this moment, you know? Like, there is nothing to work with. And that's very, very interesting. So like, one of the foundational things that you need to build a relationship, it's just not there for them. You know, they're like, I don't think that this is something that's going to work out. Like, number one, they're holding themselves back. So I don't think that they're going to like have some profound expression of love anytime soon. And then on top of that, we have the Seven of Wands here in the reverse, which is a card that just feels like there are too many obstacles in the way. There's too many struggles. There's too many difficulties. And it's like, I can't work through those. And it could be just them holding themselves back. It could be like their fear that's holding them back, and so they're making excuses and they're like, okay, I'm just not gonna try anyways, you know? That's really what it is. So I don't think you're gonna see some profound confession of love at all, because we also have the World in the reverse, which the World in the reverse doesn't believe in itself. It's holding itself back. It's like it's getting in the way of itself, really. That's what it is, and that's what all of this is. So it's like, there are probably some feelings there, but they are actively holding themselves back. They're actively being like, that's not something that's going to work, that's too difficult, that's too much. And so they're actively being their own negative adversary, you know? So that's what that is. And then we ask, he controls himself a lot, yeah. And then when we ask like what kind of relationship that he wants, we have the Magician here, which is one of those cards where it's like, I want to create something more, I want to like establish something more. Like, this card is one that's good at creating new things, you know? So it's like, there is that air of like, I want to do something new, I want to make this something more, I want to make this something better than what it is. But then again, they're still holding themselves back, because there's that Page of Pentacles in the reverse where it's like, I don't know how to do it, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say, like, I don't know how to establish that. And so then they just don't. And also, they're stuck in their head, you know? They're like stuck thinking about all of the 101 possibilities, and they're not making a lot of their decisions based off of reality. It's more about the made up decisions that they made about in their mind, you know? So that's really what that is, which is why I genuinely don't see that being something that's going to happen anytime soon, potentially, maybe never. And then when we ask if you guys are going to get married, I would probably say no. And the main reason why I say no is, not only do we have the Five of Pentacles here, which is a struggling to survive card, which is a card that just goes through so many hardships, so many obstacles, and it's like, it's on its last legs, right? Like, this card is like barely surviving as it is. We also have the Two of Wands in the reverse, which is a card where like, this card just makes the wrong decisions, you know? It does this thing where it's like, okay, I don't know what to do, I don't know which option to take. And so what happens is they end up in this place where they're stuck in the middle, and because they never really fully commit themselves to anything, it ends up falling apart, you know? And that's what it is, you know? It just, because they were so confused and they didn't want to make the wrong option, so they didn't choose anything at all, they made the wrong choice. Oops, sorry, you took too long. It's okay, I'm almost done. And then with the Knight of Swords is one of those stressful, overwhelming cards where it's like, things just get really, really chaotic, and bring in a lot of stress. So like, my answer to that would probably be no for right now, you know? Like, I don't see that being something that happens in your future at all. Does that make sense? How intriguing. Number one, I'm gonna need you to connect with your intuition and spirit guides. Like, that's number one, because they have all of the answers that you need. Like, they're actively trying to communicate with you. They're actively trying to guide you and be like, okay, and here's what you need to do. And I'm not too sure if you're listening. I'm not too sure if you're hearing what they have to say, you know. So I need you to do what you do, so that way you can connect to them and like hear what they have to say, you know. Connect with your intuition is what that is. Also, some changes are about to happen. Like, some big changes are about to happen in general. I want you to say, no, you haven't been in tune with the spiritual side. I'm gonna need you to do that, because they're trying to communicate with you. And like, in general, we have some big changes coming. Like, big. Let me see. Honestly, this might be one of those things where you guys actually don't have aligning values anymore, and you guys are just starting to go down separate paths. And the main reason I say that is because, number one, we have the Eight of Cups here, right, in the reverse, which is a card where it's like there are a bunch of things around here that are no longer bringing you emotional fulfillment, that are not bringing you any happiness, they're just not for you anymore, and you're holding on to them, right? But before you make any major decisions, I think it's important that you guys hang out together, that you guys spend some time together before you make any decisions. I'm gonna also put that out there. And then we also have the Sun in the reverse, which is a card full of growth. It's full of change. It's full of just really learning more about who you are and what you want and what you need. And like, this card does kind of go through a metamorphosis of sorts, and I think that's what's about to happen. I think you're about to go through a metamorphosis of sorts, where you come out of that a different person, wanting different things. That's really how that goes. And then we also have the Page of Pentacles in the reverse, which is a card where it's like it wants to build, it wants to have that, but sometimes it just ends up falling through. You know, it's like the foundation of what is needed there is no longer there. The communication, the safety, the trust, those types of things, they're just kind of like dissipating. You agree, because you feel everything you're saying, but at the same time, you've been alone for a month. So yeah, which is the number one reason why I'm like, hey, before you make any major decisions, you guys should probably hang out. You guys should probably meet with each other and see what the energy is, you know? Like, just see what the energy is. But also, for sure, 100%, you are about to go through a metamorphosis, and there is that sense of leaving some things behind, but it may not be the relationship in itself. It could just be some characteristics, like certain emotions, those types of things, and it could just be you guys need to recreate a new foundation, you know? Yeah, so the metamorphosis 100% is gonna happen, but regardless, you guys should probably talk, hang out, you know, meet. That's important. How intriguing. Honestly, number one, I think feelings are there. I think they like you, I think you like them, and I think it has the potential to add up to something. Like, I think this has the potential where you guys can come together, because we have the Ten of Cups here, and the Ten of Cups is a card where people are together, they're happy, they're whole. Like, this is a card where everything feels like it's what it's supposed to be, you know, and it's just this very much so happy card where it's like the little happy family type vibes. We also have the Sun card here, which is a card that is just full of rejuvenation. It's full of life, it's full of happiness, it's full of innocence, you know. So like, I think that it could also be a really good relationship where it just allows you to feel like a brand new version of you. What I will say is, it looks like there's some conflicts. It looks like there's some there's a word that I'm looking for, but I can't think of it right now. My bad. But what this card is pointless fights, pointless arguments. It could be with them, it could be with someone else, but regardless, this is like, okay, these fights really aren't about anything that's serious or anything that holds water, you know. They're just like fights to fight, and they're getting in the way of everything, you know. Like, they're making things harder than they need to be. Not every battle needs to be fought, not every argument needs to be argued. There's some things that you just have to be like, all right, I'm gonna let this one go, it doesn't matter, you know. Like, at the end of the day, save your time and energy, you know, because not everything needs your time and energy. Choose your battles is really what this card is about. But in the general sense, I think that you guys could be together, and I think that it could be a really happy, nice relationship, you know? And I definitely think they have some feelings for you, is what that's looking like. for sure. I just want to let you know. Why hasn't Sierra gotten this gift sooner? That's my question, right? Like, why do they have to wait until this weekend? You didn't get miserable though? You want to say live your best life? People hate when other people live their best life, you know? Be happy. People get so, they just take it so personally when someone else is happy, honestly. Honestly, she's been having work. She's off on the weekend. Okay. The main reason why I'm like, what is going on? Because at first instinct, I want to say no, right? Like, I want to say no. And the main reason why I want to say no is because we have the Justice in the reverse card, which this card, number one, is very unbalanced, right? It's very unfair, unbalanced. And also, this card does this thing where it doesn't feel heard or it doesn't feel seen, you know? Like, it's just very weird. And then on top of that, we have the Fool in the reverse, which is like someone acting super impulsive, chaotic, not thinking through decisions very well. Yeah, we've been arguing, you feel that's why. Yeah, like, I feel like they're probably going to be like, they're going to act impulsively, and they're going to be like, no, I'm not going to go. They're going to do something like really foolish, really silly, for no good reason, you know? And then on top of that, we have the Four of Pentacles, which is a misplaced sense of safety, right? Like, is this safety and comfortability doing okay for them right now? Yes, but like, it's still misplaced sense. It's like putting their sense of safety in other things, other stuff, that eventually is going to make them fall apart, you know? But this card is holding on to its possession. It's like, no, this is mine. It's like, it's stuck on its, this is me, this is mine, I don't need you or your help type vibes, you know? It's like, I'm keeping to myself. Like, that's really the vibes that this card gives me. Like, I'm keeping to myself, I'm sticking by myself, which is why I'm thinking no, you know? This just gives me like, they're not going to, because they want their own sense of justice, and in order to create like some sense of justice, they're gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna do that, I'm gonna do this instead, you know, as a like gotcha to you, which isn't really a gotcha, you know? Like, it makes no sense. It's like that, okay, but it had no real effect on you type thing. That's what that is. But the short answer to your question, no, I don't think so. I genuinely don't. Just given the energy of these cards here and the like inability to really see situations for what they are, I don't think so. Does that make sense? What's a pirate's favorite letter? R. You think that, but the C. Be his first love. Oh, you got me. You got me. That was nice. Will Joey and you romantically reconcile by April? I got you. I got you. No, I don't think so at all. There's a good chance that you guys just aren't meant to reconcile at all. There's a good chance that you guys just need to cut ties with each other. And the main reason why I say that is because of the Death card. The Death card is a card where it's like you need to let go, you need to leave behind things that are holding you back, those types of things. And this card just really is hanging on to things that it should let go of. And while I say that could be it, if it was just this card alone, it could be like letting go of feelings, letting go of intentions, those types of things. But the main reason why I say there's a good chance that you guys aren't meant to reconcile at all is because we also have the Queen of Swords here in the reverse, which is a card that also doesn't have a lot of clarity. It puts itself into bad situations because it's unable to read people. It's unable to see what people's true intentions are and see when it's getting itself into a bad situation, you know, which is why I say that. But the short answer to your question is no, you guys will not reconcile by then, just because there is that unclarity, just because people are unable to see the truth in what is happening and the reality in the situations. And people are just hanging on to things that they should be letting go of, you know? And there's a lot of learning and growth and developing that needs to happen, and we can see this by the Hierophant, you know? I also think people might be a little bit busy because the Hierophant is a card of like literal education, where it's like going back to school, going to college, like literally educating yourself in that way. But regardless, there is some form of growth happening here, you know? So the short answer is no. The longer answer is there's definitely things that people need to let go of in order to be free and feel happiness. Right. So career-wise, I will see that there's a lot of energy here, right? Which is interesting because while we have this energy, like, this is an impulsive card. This is a card that sometimes it just goes headfirst into things and doesn't think things fully through. But it has this energy. It's like, okay, I want to do it. Let's go. Let's do it. While also at the same time seeing this energy of the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse, which lacks energy. Like, it lacks the ability to move forward, and then it lacks commitment. And usually what happens is it loses some of its passion, it loses some of its desires, which is why there's that lack of commitment. So if I had to tell you, I'd be like, your year is going to start off with like, okay, I have all of this energy, I have all of these visions, I have all of these innovations, and so you're going to be going headfirst into the year trying to do stuff. You know, you're going to be like, let's go, let's do it. Going basically off of impulses, you know, which will lead you to some pretty good endeavors, but also it's going to drain you pretty fast, you know. It's going to bring in a lot of chaos, it's going to bring in a lot of instability, and things are going to just be all everywhere. Like, you won't see a stable thing happen in your career, you know. There are going to be a lot of ups and downs, and because of that, that's when we see that Knight of Pentacles energy happen, where it's kind of like we lose our motivation, we lose our focus, and we just kind of like don't feel like doing things, you know. So it's going to be really hard to stay true to our word and do the things that we say to do, is how that's looking for the upcoming year. And then when we look at grad school, that's looking complicated as well, because we have the Five of Pentacles here, which is a struggling to survive card. Like, this card is going through it, especially financially, you know, like it loses its sense of safety, it loses its sense of comfortability. Like, this card is barely hanging on, you know, and so it's definitely going to get really rough at some point in time. But also there's that same energy of being able to build something, being able to create something, putting your energy in, and being able to look back on it and be like, wow, look what I've done, look what I've created, look how far I've come, you know, and just feeling really proud at what you've done. So like, while there is that struggling to survive energy, that's not going to be something that stays forever, and eventually you're going to hit that energy where you're like, wow, I can't believe how far I've come, I can't believe how much I've grown, I can't believe what I've created. Does that make sense?